Welcome back to Chaotic Crafting. I'm real excited to be back into the swing of things and wanted to crack open a brand new journal with you guys and just show you kind of how I'm going to get started on a brand new journal, a brand new art page. I very rarely, hence the name Chaotic Crafting, know what I'm going to do when I sit down to do some art. I almost always just try to be as organic and let it flow. I do know that I'm going to be using my Jane Davenport, my brand new journal. This is by Jane Davenport, and it is 120 pound paper. I don't know if you can see that or not, but 120 pound, 200 GSM, so it's pretty stout and can handle lots of watercolor and lots of collage. I've got this decoupage that's supposed to be good for napkins because I'm going to be using her collage napkins, but I don't think it's any different than a good matte medium or like your Mod Podge, as long as you use the matte kind. So I'm going to open it in the middle so I don't just stare at an ugly page every day for the rest of my life. And I may hate this page and may come back later and do something to it. So I'm going to open it pretty much in the middle. You can see the seam running through. I got to be careful of that because if I put too much watercolor on that, it'll go through every page. But I'm gonna make sure that you can see this in the screen, and then we're gonna get started. One thing about Jane Davenport's mermaid markers, they will never be permanent. So anytime I put something wet down on this for the rest of its life, it will move this marker. If I try to decoupage on top, it will smear. If I try to paint on top, it will smear. If I put glue on top, it will smear. So keep in mind, this watercolor is very vibrant and I love it. I usually try to have 2 clear water brushes because usually I dot, splat, spread out. Dot, splat, spread out. So I just pick my favorite colors and I get started.
Forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. My summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. I can't forget the day we met. You looked so fly in your red Corvette. Your hair, your look, your everything. When I see it all, I knew that you were mine. I'm in love with your hair, your lips, your silhouette in the moonlight shine. With my love you won't ever be alone. My summer love, been waiting for you, my love.
Now that I just have color down on my page, I know this makes no sense, there's no rhyme or reason to it, but I just like having not a blank page. So this is just the way that I start. And I don't know if you noticed, I'm not one to get into color theory at all, but these are all warm colors. So any color that you would see in a fire, so the reds, the oranges, the yellows are, well, there are some bases that may not be completely warm on some of these, but they tend to go together better and are pleasing to the eye. And then cool colors are anything that you would see in water, so your blues and your greens. And purple sometimes can play in either site because it has red and blue in it, and both, you know, red is a warm and blue is a cool, so purple can kind of work either way. So since this is mostly warm colors, I think I'm gonna let the collage paper be something with a bluish tone because I think that'll pop a little more. I like having lighter spaces. I probably should have made more lighter spaces on here. When you get her collage napkins, you have to tear them apart. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to get a piece of Scotch tape, and it helps you separate the 2 pages. But I didn't bring Scotch tape to my workbench, so I'm gonna try to do it the old-fashioned way. And it's, once you get it separated, once you get it started, it's kind of easy. Jane Davenport's collage papers only have 1 layer, but you might be using any decorative napkin that you get at Tuesday Morning or Bed Bath & Beyond or whatever. And sometimes they're 2 and 3 ply, so just be careful and make sure you just have the 1 ply. When I put it down, it's going to be almost transparent. So it's going to be very see-through when I add the glue to it. So I want to make sure her face is on the yellowish part and that her hair kind of shows up real well on some of the pink. So one of the ways that you can cut your napkin out is by using your water brush. This is the Jane Davenport, has a finer tip, and you just run it around your painting. You don't want it too wet, but this will give you a nice little tear line. That's not, I don't like the cut marks on scissors. I don't like it being too straight. So I'll just go loosely around it so I can rip it off in just a second.
I can't forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. My summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. I can't forget the day we met. You looked so fly in your red Corvette. Your hair, your look, your everything. When I see it all, I knew that you were mine.
So I had to take a little break because I had saturated this page so much with water and watercolor and decoupage glue, and I can't find my small hair dryer that I've used to dry my art. I just moved, literally. I've been in this new apartment for about 3 weeks. So yeah, probably in a box somewhere. So I just took a break, let it dry completely, because what I want to do next, this has to be completely dry. I will probably still reactivate these mermaid markers that are just watercolor in a paintbrush, in a paint pen ready to go. So you know, I'm still gonna have to be careful with that. But this is another Jane Davenport product. She has some bags that are adorable that I bought. I think it's the set of 3. But I have her paint over pen markers. This is what I love about mixed media. So I started with watercolor. I used collage and napkins. And now these are acrylic paint pens. So paint over pen typically means you can paint over just about anything, and I like her paint over pens. I'm gonna grab some colors out of this. So I like the beach because that's a nice fleshy tone for the faces in some of these collage napkins. Now, most of my collage work on these napkins have wrinkles everywhere, so I'm not gonna get perfect faces out of this, but I'll get decent ones, and I'm okay with decent. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on just pulling some of these colors out, so I'll have some available to me, and just grabbing the pens and using like another form of mixed media on this piece.
I can't forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. My summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. I can't forget the day we met. You looked so fly in your red Corvette. Your hair, your look, your everything. When I see it all, I knew that you were mine. I'm in love with your hair, your lips, your silhouette in the moonlight shine. With my love you won't ever be alone, my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. Completely a fool. Been waiting for you, my love. Head over heels, I'm blinded by what I feel. My love is forever yours. You have my heart, you have my soul, you have my whole, you have my control. Love me tender, love me sweet. With you I know that I'm complete. I'm in love with the summer's day. For you I'd give my life away. Never leave me, never let me go. My summer love, been waiting for you, my love. My summer love, been waiting for you, my love. My love is forever yours. Forever yours. My love is forever yours.
I'm going to repeat some of the patterns that are in some of my napkins throughout this piece, so it all has a little more cohesion. So I'm going to use my paint over pens to, it's just like any paint pen really. It's an acrylic paint pen. I think Jane Davenport's quality is super good, and so I use a lot of her products. But if you have any paint pen, it should work, especially if it's acrylic paint, and most paint pens are. Obviously, I wouldn't want to do this with watercolor, because we have all this watercolor in the background, and this is works better if it's acrylic on top of that. And again, it has to be dry or it's not going to work. That's another tricky part of it.
I can't forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love.
Be my Art by Jane Davenport page, and why not? So her squid ink, this is just regular stamping ink. It is waterproof and alcohol ink proof, so I like using it, especially when I've used a lot of watercolor. Jane Davenport has lots of stamps. This is not part of a Jane Davenport stamp set. This is actually a stamp set from a membership that I had for Crafter's Companion. And I'm going to put some of these, because I have so much color going on. And these stamps are brand new, so it's going to take a few inkings before they stamp well. I'm just going to stick to like a black ink, because I don't want putting ink in all these other colors all over this page. Oh, that was terrible. Let me redo.
Forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon.
Now I want to be sure that it looks like, you know, the pattern's going off of the dress a little, and maybe over here.
Forget the day we met.
Make that look like a dress on her, so that was sort of the main thing. So palette pastels are just like regular pastel paint. They're a chalky finish. Jane Davenport had this series called Making Faces, so wanted them all to look sort of like makeup. You can tell, just like your eyeshadow palette, usually my vanilla and my warms are some of the ones that go the quickest in my eyeshadow. Same here. I'm just going to warm up some areas with adding a little shadows, maybe under the neckline a little bit. And so this chalk finish works really well on top of that acrylic and helps to blend.
Forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer.
I'm gonna use my this is the whiteout pen. It has a really fine point. Always try to clean it off good first. Since her eyes are a little harder, for the eye shine, a little smaller pupil, I'm gonna use this little tinier brush. But I also might want to add a little highlight down her nose. Oops, not that much. Oops, oops. Maybe a little bit of highlight on that bottom lip. Again, if you get too much with the paint pen or with any of your pens, you usually can dot it off if you go in really quick with it. A bottom lip is usually lighter than the top lip because it sticks out a little bit and picks up some light, some highlight. I think it makes such a difference to add the white of the eyes if you're gonna do these collages.
Forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. My summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. I can't forget the day we met. You looked so fly in your red Corvette. Your hair, your look, your everything. When I see it all, I knew that you were mine. I'm in love with your hair, your lips, your silhouette in the moonlight shine. With my love you won't ever be alone. My summer love, been waiting for you, my love. Completely a fool, been waiting for you, my love. Head over heels, I'm blinded by what I feel. My love is forever yours. You have my heart, you have my soul. You have my whole, you have my control. Love me tender, love me sweet. With you I know that I'm complete. I'm in love with the summer's day. For you I'd give my life away. Never leave me, never let me go. My summer love, been waiting for you, my love. My summer love, been waiting for you, my love. My love is forever yours. Forever yours. My love is forever yours. I can't forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. My summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. I can't forget the day we met. You looked so fly in your red Corvette. Your hair, your look, your everything. When I see it all, I knew that you were mine. I'm in love with your hair, your lips, your silhouette in the moonlight shine. With my love you won't ever be alone. My summer love, been waiting.
I think she's done. There she is after I've finished the page. So starting with the collage napkins really was my inspiration. I don't have to draw from scratch. I don't know how to draw from scratch. I stink at drawing from scratch. So Jane Davenport's collage napkins, or anybody's napkin, there's some with birds and flowers. You can use that, and then you just kind of use that outline and sort of cheat. So I hope you enjoy. See you next time on Chaotic Crafting. Thanks. Bye.